Hey mamas, are you ready to supercharge your breastfeeding journey and make sure that you're making the best milk possible for your baby as well as taking care of yourself? Well, we have 3 science-backed nutritional tips that you can start implementing today, and guess what? They're completely free. I'm Ashley Hawk, a registered dietitian with my master's in nutritional science. I'm a mom to 2. I have a newborn. I'm breastfeeding myself. And these are little tips and tricks that I use every day in my own life to make sure that I'm taking care of myself, that I'm doing the best I can to increase the chances of getting the best breast milk for my baby. And on top of that, these help keep me healthy and help encourage my recovery from pregnancy, labor, and delivery. Okay, well, my little guy actually decided to join us, but that's appropriate because we're talking about feeding our little ones. So we're not going to worry at all about that. So let me just get him set up and then we will move on to our next tip. Tip number 1 is actually very simple, but so many times people overthink it or just overlook it because you're so busy. It's making sure that you drink the right amount of water. Okay, so this guy's situated, he's eating, but I want to show you, so I really do try to keep that glass of water on hand because this is kind of a really simple way that I can make sure I'm still getting hydrated while he is as well. So I also want to encourage you, if you have your cell phones or you have some paper nearby or even an old school calculator, haven't seen one of these in a while, to take out something where you can do some really quick math. Because the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics recommends that a breastfeeding woman consume 16 cups of water a day. That's a lot of water. Now, why is drinking 16 cups of water a day so important? Because actually 90% of our breast milk is actually made up of water. So it's really important because as you pump or as you feed your baby, you see all that liquid coming out, right? Well, 90% of that is water. So the water we put into our bodies is directly going into the breast milk we make. And we want to make sure that we have enough water in our bodies that we're not getting dehydrated and we're not compromising the quality of the breast milk. So why did I say take out your calculators? Because I want you to look at how you typically drink your water. I've got all my different water stations set up here. I've got a glass of water that I pour from the sink, water bottles for when you're on the go, and then Hydro Flask. And I want to encourage you to do a quick calculation so you're able to see how much water you need to be consuming. So 16 cups a day is roughly 3.6 liters. That's a lot of water. In one of these, there's 500 milliliters. So we need to be consuming about 8 of these to get the recommended amount of water that we need each day. Now, this is a Hydro Flask that's just a little bit under a liter. And that's where it's also kind of nice because you're able to fill this up completely and say, okay, I need 3.5 of these. So this is just a really simple way to start making a mental note of how much water you're drinking. But Ashley, what if I don't like drinking water? I 100% validate that. We all get a little bored of water. But this is where you can start to do certain things like add in some frozen fruit so that it's going to naturally sweeten the water and it's going to cool your water at the same time. Or maybe you want to have a sparkling water. You can still be able to get your 16 cups each day by having other drinks that are still going to make you hydrated. Another really easy tip is just every time you sit down to breastfeed, make sure that you have a full glass of water that you're able to drink before, during, or after a feeding. Same with when you're pumping. And if you're feeding your baby 8 to 10 times each day, then this is roughly going to equal your 8 to 10 full glasses of this, which again is roughly 2 cups. That's how we're hitting that 16 number. Well, this little guy woke up again and he was hungry, which we always feed our hungry babies. We love to feed our hungry babies. But bringing us to our next tip is trying to encourage a diet with plenty of lactogenic foods. Lactogenic foods are foods that have components that produce certain hormones like estrogen and prolactin that are going to help increase the production of breast milk. So, for example, whole grains like barley and oats, they contain beta-glucan. Beta-glucan is specifically linked to production of prolactin. So that's where eating things like whole grain oats, using oat flour when you're baking, using barley in different soups and rices can all be really beneficial to making sure that you're including these prolactin or these lactogenic foods. Other examples of lactogenic foods include dark leafy greens, so making a smoothie with your frozen kale or your spinach. Great ways to incorporate those lactogenic foods. On top of that, all of these foods have really great health promoting qualities. So aside from the fact that they're going to be able to help support breast milk production. These foods are also just going to be so good for your body in terms of aiding in recovery from pregnancy, labor, all of those things. And on top of that, they're going to help set you up for success when it comes to being a busy mama and needing to operate on not a lot of sleep. Well, as he finishes eating, I was going to just stop and reset, but hey, we're sitting here chatting. So what we want to do is figure out how you can get the most protein that you need every day to help support the amount of protein that your body needs to recover as well as your baby needs. So take out that calculator, and it is going to be roughly 1.7 to 1.9 grams of protein per kilogram per day. It used to just be about zero 0.8 to 1 gram per kilogram. So these are almost doubled, which is pretty crazy to think about. Now, I personally eat plant-based, so when it comes to figuring out how I'm going to eat, 120 grams of protein plus per day, I try to look at different sources that are applicable to a plant-based lifestyle. So eggs, yogurt are okay by me. Tofu, tempeh, great options. Peanut butter using a plant-based protein powder, if that's your jam, if you like that, are all simple ways. If you eat chicken or fish, then it's a little bit easier to kind of plan your meals, but there are alternatives. So you just want to make sure that you're doing the right amount of research and setting yourself up for success. So it used to be recommended that you only needed about 0.8 to 1 gram per kilogram per day of your body weight of protein. However, recent studies have shown that that number actually needs to be closer to 1.7 to 1.9. That is a lot of protein, ladies and gentlemen. So actually, if you want to do this with me, what I want you to do is to put your weight into your calculator. So let's say you weigh 150 pounds. Now we're going to divide that number by 2.2. So that's going to give you 68.18. So now what we want to do is take that's your weight in kilograms, and we want to multiply that by 1.7. That's going on this higher end. So go times 1.7. That's 115 grams of protein each day. That's a lot of protein. So how are we going to do that? We're going to divide it by 5 different meals and snacks. So now divide that by 5. So you want to be aiming for about 23 grams of protein in each meal or snack. And I'm going to show you some simple ways to do that. So if you found these tips helpful, then I really want to encourage you to like, subscribe to this channel, and leave a comment below with what you want to hear more of. Also, if you want to shoot me your email address, then I want to send you a nutrition meal plan, which is going to help break down some really simple recipes that are going to help you hit that 150 grams of protein. They're going to help include these lactogenic foods, and it's going to have a lot of hydrating foods in there as well, including some smoothies that are going to help you reach that 16 cups of water a day. So as we bring this to conclusion, what are my 3 tips when it comes to small nutritional changes you can start making today that are going to increase your breast milk completely for free? Tip number 1, make sure you're staying hydrated. You want to make sure you're getting at least 16 cups of water a day, however you choose to do that. Tip number 2, make sure you're eating enough protein. So essentially for a woman that weighs 150 pounds, we want to be aiming for right around 118 grams each day, which breaks down to roughly 20 to 25 grams per meal or per snack. And tip number 3 is go ahead and include those lactogenic foods whenever possible. Leafy greens, rolled oats, flaxseed, you could even include some baker's yeast. These are all great examples of lactogenic foods. And there's going to be another video coming out very soon where we're going to cover the top 20 lactogenic foods. So make sure you subscribe so that when that video is ready, you're able to watch. Now, good luck, mamas. Hang in there. You're doing a great job. If you have any specific questions, please leave them in the comments below.